Hey guys, what's going on? Long time no see. I've just been so swamped with life. I apologize. I've not been consistent with getting videos out as much as I would like to. So I wanted to talk about something that happened is really disturbing. I have a really good friend named Max Egan. I don't know if you've ever seen his videos. If you haven't, I will put links in the description. He runs the the podcast, the show, Surviving the Matrix, The Crow House. Anyway, if you're a hardcore truther, you probably know who Max Egan is. I just realized this year I've been truthing about 10 years. About 10 years. It's been about 10 years. Anyway, in this movement, I've come to know a lot of amazing people. I always talk about sometimes how I lost a lot of friends and how painful that was and shocking that was. But at the same time, I've gained a lot of amazing friends all over the world, and just some of the most intelligent, warm, loving, energetic, righteous, but maybe not righteous is the word, but passionate, people, kindred spirits I've met and engaged with, regarding bringing people the truth and trying to help empower people. And Max Egan is definitely one of them. And he's a very strong, I would say, I don't think he would call himself a leader. I would call him a leader, but he's humble enough that he would never be like, I'm the leader. But because he's older, he has a lot of wisdom and information to impart on people, and he does tremendous research. And he's also cool. I've hung out with him in person. He's just also a cool person. He's a musician. He's a badass guitar player. One of the most badass guitar players I've ever met. Anyway, I can't say enough good things about him. And he's okay now, but he was attacked. I don't know. I would like to say it was like with a 5G weapon. I have not talked a lot about 5G. I know some about it and not as much as I know about vaccines. So from what I know, I've talked about a little bit about it being, causing cancer. But not only that, is it not carcinogenic? Is it not only carcinogenic, but it also has the ability to, I know this sounds crazy, mind control people. Now, for you guys that are here because of the Democrats, you guys are going to get a lot more for your money on this channel, believe you me, because this isn't just about the Democratic Party and how evil they are. They're elites. It's a bigger plan. So I need to explain this because I know it sounds far-fetched. But with the 5G technology, well, let me back up a bit. Mind control has been sought after by the elites since the beginning of time. Whether it's through using things like scopolamine to suggest people to do things. If you ever see this Vice documentary, it's called The World's Scariest Drug. It basically is a type of hallucinogen that can be given to people. It's odorless, it's colorless. You can put it in people's drinks and you don't smell it. And it basically takes away all your willpower. So if somebody's like, walk in front of that train, you'll just do it without thinking about it. If you're given the drug and then there's somebody with you giving you directions, you don't have the will to decide for yourself what to do. And the worst part about it, you don't even look like you're drugged. You look normal. You can't even tell in your eyes that you're under the influence of anything. It's really scary. So you have stuff like that. You have stuff like MK Ultra mind control, which is when the Nazis came over to America. They were brought because a lot of the Nazi scientists had a lot of advanced knowledge with the experiments that they were doing on people. And basically when the war was over, everybody around the world were trying to get these scientists to their country, these Nazi scientists to their country, so they could get their research for their own. And America got most of them, and you can look this up also. It's called Operation Paperclip or Project Paperclip, where they actually bought these scientists over. and you know, took care of them and you know, hid them so they can continue their research for them. And one of the huge developments that they were working on was mind control. You might also want to look into Fritz Springmeier's work. He's done a lot of good work on documenting like MK Ultra mind control, slave monarch, MK Ultra victims. There was even, it popped up in my feed the other day. There was even a documentary that was done where it was classified, and these people were talking about they actually sued the government because they were unwitting mind control victims, where people were experimenting on them. So this whole thing about trying to control people's minds might seem far-fetched, but there's a lot of documentation to support what I'm saying. So if you choose to, you can look this up, and you can you know, see that this is a thing for yourself. So in addition to that, now, you know, they're always trying to up their game, right? There's this 5G technology which we use for the internet, and it gives us faster internet, but it also can give you cancer, and it also, if it's directed in a certain way, could be used for mind control. I forgot what it was, but I read that they were experimenting somewhere in like the Middle East, where they had like a lot of radical Muslims that were, you know, shooting back the military, and the military used it, and they basically made them just like give up their guns and come out with their hands up. You know, so somebody think about being able to turn somebody that radical. So basically, he's been exposing, getting back to Max, he's been exposing these Australian bushfires. And he was very, yeah, I think he's been pretty effective, because within the past few days when he started doing these videos, he had like 15,000 or plus subscribers to immediately subscribe to his channel, because a lot of people, especially in Australia, they are, you know, they know that they're not being told the full story about what's going on with these fires. So, very disturbing. I just want to let you know that this is out there. You know, I definitely believe in a higher power, that even though these assholes have this technology and they want to play God, there definitely still is at the end of the day a higher power that they're not going to play God forever. But just knowing that they did that to him. So basically they did that to him, and he start putting up videos and basically saying the opposite of everything that he's been talking about through the years. So for instance, if I were to say, all of a sudden just come on and start making a video saying, oh my God, guys, vaccine saves lives. I don't know what I was talking about. They got me. If I start doing that shit, they zapped me, they put a chip on my head, they did some shit, okay? You know, nobody even before I consider myself an anti-vaxxer, I didn't change my mind that quickly. It's not healthy for the human mind to just have such a profound belief and then change that radically overnight, no matter what it is. Something's not right. And the thing that really pissed me off was when that happened, there was also somebody that came in, and you know, it looked like it was a coordinated attack, because there were other people saying, oh, he's a shill, he's a controlled opposition, blah, 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 blah. But if I know somebody and they know that they've been doing this work for years and years and years, I would be like, what's wrong? Something's wrong with him. I wouldn't immediately jump to the conclusion that they're a shill or they're controlled opposition. I have only probably said that about one person. I've come out and gone off on people who I think are wrong, especially even criticizing vaccines. But there's only one person I've said that's about, and I think I have a valid, very valid reason for thinking this about that person. But I don't really throw control opposition or shill out that loosely, which a lot of people seem to do. I try and figure out, you know, and give people the benefit of the doubt before I come to that conclusion. But there are just some people that just seem to, like, you know, just as the same people that call other people sheep, you know, if you don't do your own research, you know, you can be easily led down another path just because, you know, just like I think about the walk away movement, how all these people are walking away from the Democratic Party, which is good. But, you know, I like Brandon's approach, because he's like, you don't have to go to the Republican Party. You don't have to, just walk away from that. It doesn't matter where you go. But obviously, this group over here is sinister. You can go, and there's some people, though, that are taking that jump, though, from the Democratic Party and going straight to the Republican side. And I wouldn't suggest that either. I don't think just because you're a Republican, that means that you're benevolent. You need to like really do your research and figure out what the people that you're supporting stand in. And the same thing with Max. Even if he was a quote unquote shill and he was spewing, you know, this stuff to turn the tide or whatever, which he isn't, or which he wasn't, the information that he puts out should stand for itself. So even there are a lot of people that subscribe to my channel, and when I talk about a lot of these things, I most, like 99.9% of the times, I'm sure there's some times when I haven't, I will provide sources in the bottom so people can go and do their own research, right? You shouldn't follow the person. You should follow the research, right? That's what being a true truth seeker is about. So God forbid if somebody were to get me and I were to turn the other direction, you have the research to back you up, not just because I'm saying it. I hope that makes sense. And one of my things is to empower people. I want people to be empowered. I don't want people to feel like they're helpless or scared or they can't do anything, right? I tell people this information to help them so they can help themselves. I'm not trying to, you know, lead people in one way or another. I think you can, if you're a person that is not afraid to speak and not afraid to make videos, that's a blessing in a sense, because it's not made for everybody to do that. A lot of people are scared to speak in front of people. But if you can do that, then, you know, do that and try and provide people with the best resources possible to help them. That's what it's all about. So, you know, even if this thing, the information that he puts out stands on its own, even without him saying it. If he didn't show his face, which he didn't for a long time either. He did, you know, put out information and stuff. I mean, you can look into what he's saying and make connections for yourself. It's not that hard. Really, it really isn't, okay? So I'm going to put a link to his videos below. Please support him. Give him, patronize him, send him donations. He's not making a lot of money, and he spends a lot of time really gathering great information and going to speak to people. He's a great teacher. I really love and admire him, and so do a lot of people. So I'd rather you guys, like, I'm not consistent with the videos that I put up, and I can't promise you that at the moment. I have a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with. I'm trying to keep this going as much as I can. And I have gotten donations here and there, and I really appreciate them. And believe me, I take them. But I'm not, like, I have a job right now. I'm not struggling for money in a sense. I really rather you give donations to people like him, or send them information, give them support, subscribe to their channel. Magnificent just quit his job, and he's reporting, he's being a citizen journalist 24/7. Support him. Like, that's his job. I'd really rather you give the money to them. I'm not asking for donations right now. I probably will be in the future. I'm trying to get something together where I'm selling things, or I'm doing things in the form of merchandise or something like that. Not, and I don't look down on people that ask for donations. I'm just saying, I'm just being honest, where I'm saying I can't be consistent, but please support these people that's all they do. That's their job. So I think they're more deserving of the money than I am. Okay. So it's getting kind of long. What was I gonna say? So basically, he's talking about these bushfires, and what's really pissed me off is the mainstream media. It's just like, oh, it's the global warming. Oh my God, this is what happens when you don't believe in global warming. Like, everything burns, and it's just like, well, let's take a deeper look into what's going on. So he puts together reports talking about how they've been siphoning the water off, right? So when it rains, the water drizzles into the ground, aquifers suck up the water, some of the water goes into lakes and rivers and streams, which hydrate the trees, hydrates the ground, and leaves some, moisture for the rain cycle to start all over again. So, the places that are dry or that need rain, they can be rained upon. And if you understand, like, the rain cycle, it's like a circular thing where it comes from the sky, goes up, precipitates, goes back into the clouds, goes back around, it's like this. So, or I don't know, I guess I was off camera, right? It's like circular. So he's basically talking about, sure, he has lots of good evidence, news reports, diagrams, conferences, videos, showing how they've been pumping the water out of these rivers, out of the lakes, out of the creeks, and putting it behind this dam. And then he's shown that the dams have basically, they're just hoarding the water. So the water's just sitting there like this. Nobody's releasing it, right? It's being taken from the environment, taken away from the people, and it's been sold off. Like, what the fuck? You're like, you can sell off water? People own, you can't fucking own water. But they've sold this water off, right? Their politicians, their government has sold this water off to other people in power, industry, other people in foreign governments, and it's just sitting there. So basically all they have to do is release this water back into the environment, and that would solve a huge part of the bushfire situation that's going on right now, which is some fucking BS. You can't blow the dams up because that's going to create another problem. You can hurt people. It's going to be too much at the same time. They literally have to get the pumps going and release the water back into the environment in order for it to have a positive effect, right? So then that's one element of why the fires are so dry. Because if you look at the news reports from Australia, a lot of the firemen are like, oh my God, we've never seen anything like this. These fires are the hottest burning fires I've ever seen in my life. No matter how much water we use, it's not going to be enough, blah, 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 blah. So why are the fires burning so hot? Is it because of global warming? No, it's not because of global warming. One element is that, like I said, they're siphoning the water. So the trees, everything, that even if it's not raining, there's no moisture in the ground, so everything is dry. Okay, so that's one element. Second element is the chemtrails, right? And I know there are people that get hot and bothered and shit, and they think that's a conspiracy, but it's easily provable. They're not called chemtrails in the mainstream. It's called geoengineering, and this is one of the things that they actually, ironically, have said that they're using to fight climate change is geoengineering, okay? So you can choose not to believe me. You can choose to think that it's a conspiracy. You can choose not to use your common sense. You can choose not to look up in the sky and know that the shit that they're spraying is not normal, but it is a fact. Okay, so compared to that, you see the chemtrails. There have been reports from farmers and people that, environmentalists, talking about that that these chemtrails are loaded with aluminum, barium, and strontium. And another really interesting point that he makes in the videos is that it's when you go out for 4th of July and you have these little sticks and you light them, they're called sparklers, and they make these little hand fireworks that you walk around and they light up, and it's really cool, right? So basically that's the same stuff. When you add them together, the aluminum, barium, and the strontium together, they make sparklers, guys. So they're spraying sparkler dust, and they've been chemtrailing, all over the world, basically, with the sparkler dust, right? So that area in Australia, not only now does it lack moisture, it has sparkler dust, right? So when it ignites, it just goes off like a fucking firework. And it's burning hotter. And then they point to the fires that usually, there's like a red flame, but you see all of these these white like lines and yellow lines in the flame, and that's indicating that there's aluminum and strontium, because when it burns like that. It's not just like a normal fire. The firemen are reporting like fireballs coming out of the what the hell, fireballs, fire tornadoes, just crazy stuff. And the fact that these fires all started at the same time. Now, if you think about it, isn't it a perfect plan to move all the Aborigines off of their land? All these people that are black people, my brothers and sisters, that are thinking that being called a nigger is the worst thing that can ever happen to them, that are scared of microaggressions. This is real racism, you guys. Okay, if you want to talk about racism, let's talk about environmental racism like that, right? The perfect plan to move all the Aborigines and not just Aborigines and stuff that live out there, but there are people of all races, that are living out there, that are being forcibly like relocated, right? Then you look up Agenda 21, right? It all connects together, right? You look up Agenda 21 and you're like, oh, it's the perfect plan to get people out, so they can mine certain areas for, lithium, for minerals, for the electronics that they want us hooked on, to move people out of the cities, to vacate their land, to get them dependent, to put them in a city. Because if we're all like hoarded to a city, it feeds the whole narrative that, climate change, that people will believe, oh yeah, there are too many people on the planet. Well, but there are too many people in a concentrated area, not on the whole planet, okay? So then you have that plan. You also have the plan of like, they can use this event to say, oh, look at all of the climate change deniers. Look at what global warming is doing. Look at all of the animals. And by the way, 500 billion with a B, animals have died so far. Have died. 500 million animals. That's just, the people that are dying and lose their homes, that's devastating too, but the environment. And he was talking about it's so dry that the insects are dying, the upper layer of like the soil, all the bacteria are being fried. So even when they go back and try and plant stuff, it won't be able to grow. It's just completely devastating. And I know he has to keep it together and remain calm, but I bet you he turned his camera off and he was throwing shit and breaking shit and like, fuck. Because I was doing that after I watched those videos, and I'm not even in Australia. Like, think how devastating it is to watch your environment be destroyed, completely obliterated, right? And deliberately. And, they're going to try the same shit in Africa. They're going to be like, oh, it's global warming, right? Africa's full of resources, and there's still animals and people on land that are in their way. And they're going to, they're going to burn them off their land, and B, they're going to use them as an example for the people that don't believe in climate change. Yeah, the climate is changing because they're changing the climate. He also talks about the numerous amount of Doppler radars that they're using to control the weather. And if you don't believe me, look up geoengineering, look up Nicholas Bilek, Angels Don't Play That Harp. He talks about weather control, weather modifications. In fact, when I was in Taiwan, I saw an animation talking about how they were going to use weather modification to help certain areas. But they bring it out when they talk about in the way like, oh, we're going to, use this weather modification to bring rain to the dry areas. And for the areas that are too wet, they're going to use that and they're going to like make it not rain so much. But people never put it together that if it's in the wrong hands, that they're going to use it as a tool of power to control people and to start shit like this, to start earthquakes, to start fires, whatever whatever they desire, right? Like I just can't, people that are adults, I can understand teenagers, but people that are adults that understand that this technology exists, but they can't wrap their head around the level of evil or the fact that people will use this to their advantage in the wrong hands, when it's in the wrong hands. It just really pisses me off that people are that like willfully ignorant. Especially, there are people that they understand the vaccine paradigm and how that works, but yet they're like, oh, well, they lied to us about vaccines, but they're telling the truth about climate change. Like, they'll never lie to us about that. Like, bullshit. Like, wake the fuck up, people. These are the same people. Why would you trust them? They've lied to us about everything. Why would you trust them? Not trust them in one area and trust them in another. Same thing too with the people, in politics. They know how these politicians lie about other things, but then when I talk about vaccines, oh, but they're telling the truth about vaccines. They save lives, and that's another thing. When the what do you call it? The environment is messed up. The ecosystem is messed up. You don't have water to grow enough food, to have sustainable food, to have nutritious food, to have nutrient-dense food. You then create nutricide. Then you're not getting the right nutrients, and you don't get the right nutrients. Guess what, you guys are disease prone. So then, they've taken the poor Australians, man. They've taken all these, and they've taken their guns. So when people really start to figure out what's happening, they can't fight back. They're reporting that Sydney in Australia is going to be out of water in 2 years. They've started to militarize their police. They censor the fuck out of people in Australia, so they can't even spread information online. And, you know, even some of the anti-vaccine doctors that want to go in and have lectures, they're not being let in the country. David Icke is not being let in the country. So these people that are trying to bring truth to the people of Australia are not being let into the country. So I don't know, guys. I mean, it's some bullshit. You know, this whole climate change shit, I still don't believe it. And I never will, because I don't believe it's because, you know, billions of people are breathing CO2 into the environment. I believe that I believe in climate change because they're changing the climate. They're controlling the weather. They're siphoning off water. They're starting fires, right? All these fires happen to start at the same time, and it's just a coincidence all over different parts of the country, but they just happen to start at the same time. Right? Happen to start in the summer. So they've been planning this, right? They drain out the water. They spray the places with, you know, with sparkler dust. They set the fires during the dry season when it's the summer, and poof, there you have your recipe. You can move the people off. You can get your fucking Agenda 21 cities, move them out of the city. And when people figure out what's going on, you take their guns so they can't fight back. Right? God bless America. Do not give up your guns. Do not. This is like the last beacon of hope that we have left in America. Okay? And our First Amendment too, because a lot of people know that that's some bullshit too. Like, the first and the second, the first two amendments, you know, at least we have those. So anyway, let me know what you think. If you have any more information you can give me regarding this, please let me know. I will put the links that I was talking about in the comments below. Please support Max. Spread his videos. Copy them, because most likely they're going to be taking them down off of YouTube very soon. I'm sure, right? And what else was I gonna say? Copy them. Oh, we need translators, you guys. Anybody, you know, I don't know if I've said this before. You guys are welcome to share my videos. You're welcome to translate them. You're welcome to put them on any other platforms. I don't care. I'm not making money off of it, and I just want the information to get out. So have at it. All right, guys, that's it. Peace, truth, and love. Talk to you later. Bye. Mwah.